All right, lesson number 2. We're going to talk about subject lines, opening lines, and email copy. We're going to dive into the specifics. Let's start with subject lines. Why does the subject line matter? Because the subject line is a titled message that people see in their inbox. They see it before they even see the rest of your email. It can help you get an open rate. Why do they matter? Because according to HubSpot, 2 different studies, 33% of recipients open based off the subject line alone. Remember, they can see a little bit of preview text as well, but 33% of people open just because they like the subject line. And 69% of people respond or report an email to spam based off the subject line. So that's some pretty big numbers. Like, you don't want to get marked as spam just because your subject line sucks. So let's start with some best practices. First and foremost, just like anything else, writing good subject line comes with practice. So I like to use and I recommend the Upworthy 25 headline process to weed out bad ideas. So what I mean by this is Upworthy, when they write a blog post, they write 25 different headlines for each individual blog post. That's a lot of headlines to write. But what that ends up doing is you get some really good ones, you get some bad ones, you get a mix of everything else. And by writing 25, repetition here is the key. You practice to write good stuff. And ultimately, the things that are good kind of stand out, and the things that are bad kind of blend. Like, you can easily move them to the bottom. So write 25 subject lines for what you're trying to do. I guarantee one of those will be good. It'll at least be better than if you were just to come up with one by itself. Try a subject line featuring questions. That can get someone's attention, right? Those 33% of people who open that email or could get those attention. So another thing is subject lines with 30 or few characters have an above average open rate. So the fewer words, the fewer things you have to say, the better it is. Send it from a person. First and foremost, never send from a company. Because I don't know about you, but if you're selling a service or a product, or if you have to result to an email, I'm not buying from a company. A robot doesn't email me. I buy from a person. So make sure you're sending from a person. Personalize the subject lines. The study has shown that 22% people are more likely to open an email if a subject line is personalized. So think about the name, what their industry they're in, the category, what problems relate to them, and think about how you can include that into the subject lines. If you create a sense of urgency in your email or some sort of exclusivity, this can also get you a better open rate. Now, don't use fake like re or forward. Yes, you might get the person to open, but you've lost their trust. You're probably not going to get a click. And ultimately, remember, what matters is the response rate. So even if you got an open rate, your response rate is going to suffer because you've kind of manipulated them to get them to open it. Now, don't oversell and make fake promises in your subject lines because remember, they've opened it. That's what they're expecting. It's the same thing as if you mislead them with the forward or re. It's just not going to work. And be specific and be useful. Most emails are not useful. If an email was useful, it's ultimately not spam. It's not like you're selling something. If an email is useful and helpful, it's going to increase my chances of responding. So there you have it. Let's go into the opening lines now. What the heck is an opening line? It's the first line of the email. It's the thing that it's not the thing that gets their attention. It's the thing that keeps their attention. So you have maybe 0.1 of a second to 10 seconds to keep their attention in this whole email. That first line is going to help you get them to read the rest of the email. So it's important that your first line of the email and your subject line works together. They don't contradict each other. And again, at the end of the day, if people read the first line, they're more likely to get to your call to action. So let's talk about some best practices. Make sure it's about your prospect's needs and not yours. Remember, nobody cares about you. You're not emailing other people about you. You got to get them to care about you. You got to talk about them. If you can talk about them and relate to them and with personalization that we'll get into later, get their attention and make them feel something, that will help you get to the next step. Make sure your first lines are very, very clear. Look, most people suck at writing subject lines, but most people are horrible at writing this first line. It's really, really important. So be clear. Avoid saying things like stuff, things. Make sure you're using the right language, right? Think about if you're sending an email to an accountant versus a marketer versus a bodybuilder, right? Like a bodybuilder is probably, less professional in their language, whereas an accountant is on the other side. I've seen people email people in England versus the US. In England, they speak a lot more proper. So make sure you use better language, you use proper grammar. Whereas if you email a bodybuilder, if you use proper grammar, that might put them to sleep, right? So make sure you kind of speak to that individual and avoid spammy language, things like free, discount. I can give you, dollar signs and words and characters that trigger spam filters, because guess why the spam filters exist in the first place? Because it triggered a human filter first. So you got to get past what my friend Ross Hudgen calls the bullshit filter, right? And so when you look at that first line, it's about getting past that bullshit filter. Why would somebody care about you? Why would somebody even care? So that's it about the opening line. Make sure they're short, punchy, and they go along with the subject line. So now let's talk about email copy, the rest of your email. In fact, this includes your opening line. So this is really the body, the meat of your email. And it matters because you've gotten open, you got their attention, but now you got to reel it in. So first and foremost, you got to write like a human being. What I do for this is I read my email out to another human being. I say, hey, get some coworker, or I talk to my wife or someone else. Hey, I'm writing this email. What do you think of this? I like to talk to my wife about this because she has no context of what I'm doing for that, what that cold email is for. And if I can get her to understand what the heck I'm talking about, I can get somebody else who also doesn't know what I'm talking about. Remember, you've interrupted their day. So think about that filter. And remember, an email should be read like a human being because, again, you can use proper grammar, but using words like just, I just wanted to follow up. No, you're actually following up. You don't just want to, you actually are doing it. So avoid things like that. Think about how you talk in person. In fact, what I typically do, my personal approach to writing emails is I'll just go record myself on my iPhone and I'll just rant about like what I'm going to say, or as if I was selling this person in person, or if I was creating an elevator pitch, and then I'll write an outline and then I'll write the email. So it helps me kind of weed out all the little noise and really start by talking like a human. And lastly is personalize the message to the recipient. Remember, like, they may not be the decision maker, but you don't want to say, are you the decision maker? Because let's face it, everybody gets it. Are you the decision maker? Can you pass me along? Yeah, right. That never works, right? So think about who you're talking to. Think about what you need to personalize to get their attention. Now, I don't know about you, but personalization is not company name, because I know what company I work at. You don't need to tell me what company I need to work at. If you told me about the blog post I wrote, if you told me about something specific about my day, my work life, my job description, like things that happen in my work week, that's personalization, not your name, not a company name and whatnot. So there's a lot of people that just don't get to the point. So get to the point. Don't waste people's time. I think I follow, there's Joanna Wiebe has a really, really good rule called only send emails where there's more value for the recipient than there is to you, right? So think about what you can do to provide them value. Maybe it's a helpful article, a video, what have you. And I mentioned this before, but think like an ad text copywriter, right? Think about if you're writing a Facebook ad, a Google AdWords ad, you have limited characters, you have limited time, you have milliseconds to get people's attention. So it has to be, your copy has to get people's attentions. And remember to use templates to make your message as effective as possible, like the templates we talked about in lesson 1. And there are a lot of great tools that we're going to link to below. So check those out, scroll down. We're going to talk about include some tools to help you A/B test. Noah Kagan has this awesome Excel file. There's a headline analyzer from CoSchedule that you can actually use for your email subject lines. Similar kind of process. So check those things out below.